The air in South London was thick with anticipation, the kind that settled into bones and refused to leave. Every breath Eleanor Grayson took tasted of coal, dust, fear, and the stale temps of another sleepless night. Sirens wailed in the distance, an eerie, mechanical cry that was becoming as common as the chime of a clock. Outside, the city waited, bracing itself beneath a sky of iron. Inside the Grayson household, the parlor glowed with the reluctant flicker of a coal fire. Shadows jumped across the peeling wallpaper and danced over the faces of Thomas and Margaret Grayson. Thomas, with his bristled jaw and a cane at his side, stared into the flames as if they held the answers. Margaret, ever gentle, mended a woolen sock, though her hands trembled with every rumble from beyond the walls. Eleanor stood in the middle of the room, her coat still dusted with ash from the latest air raid, gripping a worn map with shaking hands. She had seen the city up close, bodies pulled from rubble, soot-covered children clutching toys turned to cinders, mothers screaming for sons who wouldn't come home. She couldn't let her parents become part of that. "Devon," she said again, her voice taut with urgency. "Aunt Clara's cottage is sitting empty. You know it well. It's far from the city, from the bombs." Thomas scowled, his fingers tightening round the handle of his cane. "This is my home, Eleanor. I won't be driven from it by bloody Luftwaffe cowards. And our neighbours," Margaret added, voice soft but worried. "The Kendalls lost their roof just last week. What sort of people leave when others have to stay?" "The sort that want to live," Eleanor snapped, then softened. "Please. I'm begging you. Let's just go for a little while. Let me see you safe." It took hours. Thomas's pride was a fortress, and Margaret's heart tugged in too many directions. But Eleanor's resolve was a river in flood, unyielding. By nightfall they had agreed. One journey, one relocation, but only if Eleanor came along. The train rattled westward through darkening countryside. Eleanor sat between her parents, watching the sky with every stretch of open field, as if expecting black-winged death to swoop down at any moment. The rhythmic clatter of the tracks was oddly soothing, a heartbeat in the chaos. Margaret dozed with her head on Thomas's shoulder. Eleanor did not sleep. The cottage revealed itself near dusk, tucked into the mossy ribs of Dartmoor, where winds sighed through the heather, and the world felt older, slower. The stone house was squat and damp-smelling, but safe. Eleanor could almost believe in peace. She planned to leave by the first light. "You'll stay tonight, won't you?" Margaret pleaded. "Just tonight." Eleanor hesitated. Her job at the munitions factory was critical, her sense of duty as finely honed as a blade. But the exhaustion in her mother's eyes was enough. "All right," she said. "Just one night." The spare room was small, lined with faded rose wallpaper and an iron bedstead that creaked under her weight. The wind poured at the windows like a restless spirit. She placed her torch under the pillow, just in case, and lay staring into the shadows. At 10:30 p.m., the sound came. Thump. A pause. Then again, thump. It was slow, deliberate, like someone tapping a rubber-tipped cane across the wooden floor. Her breath caught in her throat. She fumbled for the torch. Its narrow beam pierced the dark, slicing through dust motes. Nothing. Then, fingers. Or something like them. A cold brush across the back of her hand. Not air. Not her imagination. Touch. She bolted upright, the beams skimming the room. Still nothing. The smell of lavender. Dust. a memory unspoken. The thumping stopped. Silence came roaring in its place. Eleanor sat motionless for hours, too afraid to move, too proud to scream. The next morning, she kissed her mother on the cheek and hugged her father tightly, lingering a moment longer than usual. Her stomach churned as she boarded the train, the unease from the night before clinging like damp wool. She arrived in London to a scarred horizon and a city in mourning. Her heart thudded harder with every step toward home. Her street was a wasteland. Where her house once stood was now a shattered grave of brick and scorched timber. The front door lay twisted on the pavement. A lamppost leaned drunkenly, its glass blown out. "Eleanor," someone cried. It was Mrs. Harper from 3 doors down, her face streaked with soot. "You're alive." "Oh, thank God, you weren't home." "What happened?" Eleanor whispered. "Last night," said another neighbor, "right at 10:30. A direct hit. No warning, no chance. Just gone." 10:30 p.m. Eleanor staggered backward. The timing, the noise, the touch. Her knees gave out and she collapsed to the curb, staring at the ruins of what might have been her tomb. The thump, the chill. Something had known. When the war was over and the world began to stitch itself back together, Eleanor rarely spoke of that night. But every now and then, in quiet pubs or beside dying fires, she would tell the tale. She told it slowly, not as a ghost story, but as a truth etched in her bones. "There was something in that cottage," she'd say. "It warned me. I don't know who or what or why, but it saved me." Some scoffed. Others nodded, silently. Eleanor never doubted. She went on to work in post-war recovery, helping rebuild homes and lives. She never remarried. She never returned to the cottage. But every autumn, on the night the clocks turned back and the wind began to howl across the moors, she would wake at exactly 10:30 p.m., her breath caught in her throat, hand tingling. And she would whisper into the dark, "Thank you. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path." If its chill gripped you, like, subscribe, and comment below.